Good afternoon. We wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. We are also grateful to have the opportunity to celebrate the achievements of our scholars who graduate today. On their behalf, let us express gratitude for the support of their families and friends, and for the faculty and staff who have guided them in their pursuit of knowledge. Whatever our own traditions, let us reflect as we proceed through the Convocation ceremony on the many years of effort, sacrifice, and success that have brought us to this time of celebration. In concilium universitates torontonenses vocati sumus. Graduates, please remain standing. All guests, please be seated.
Insignissime cancellaria, presento tibi hosce scholaris, ut admittantur ad gradus varios, testorque eos quoad omnia quae statuta requirunt aptos et idoneos esse.
Et profictum huius provinciae, huius qua magnae patriae, et profictum omnium nationum, omnibus in terris conjunctarum, algo ex accatoritate mihi atoti, universitate commissar. Admitto vos e grados varios, quarum ura vubisto, epitoco qua ut omnia confictiatas munera qua et illos, grados pertinent.
Please be seated. My name is Merrick Gertler, and it is my great privilege to serve the University of Toronto as its 16th president. Today, I have the additional privilege of assisting our Chancellor, Dr. Rose Patton, in conducting this convocation. The university is an institute with deep historical roots and many enduring traditions. Among those is our use of the language of the medieval university in today's wonderful celebration. For those in attendance who, like me, are less than fluent in Latin, a translation may be helpful. For my part, I said, most distinguished Chancellor, I present to you these scholars that they may be admitted to the various degrees. And I bear witness that as far as all things which the statutes require, they are fit and suitable. Now, much more significantly from the standpoint of the graduating class, the Chancellor then replied, to the benefit of this province, this great country, and to the worldwide community of nations, I, by the authority vested in me and in the whole university, admit you to your various degrees, grant to you the rights, and ask of you the responsibilities of doing all those things which pertain to those degrees. And so, as my first order of business, I am delighted to salute you, the graduating classes of 2022 from the School of Graduate Studies, the Faculty of Arts and Science at Victoria College and Woodsworth College, and the Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. That's it. You're done. Warmest congratulations. I would also like to bid a very warm welcome to everyone who has joined us here in historic Convocation Hall. It is so wonderful to be able to celebrate the fall convocation season in person once more. Now, graduates, today the University of Toronto is formally recognizing your hard work, your accomplishments, your perseverance, and this milestone. And speaking of perseverance, you have successfully completed your program in extraordinary and challenging times, and today's celebration is all the more meaningful for it. Each of you, as a member of the graduating class, is joining an extraordinary family of University of Toronto alumni. They number close to 640,000 in more than 190 countries around the world. They are the university's living legacy and our greatest ambassadors. U of T alumni serve in leadership roles in every corner of the globe and in every walk of life. They are prime ministers, justices, scholars, authors, community and business leaders, scientists, and professionals of every description. Their endeavors have shaped the world we live in and the way we understand that world. We have no doubt that the University of Toronto's high international standing can be attributed to generations of dedicated and very talented faculty and staff members. But we also understand that this reputation has been built by our alumni, a group that now includes each and every one of you. So to the graduating class, let me say thank you. Thank you for your many contributions to the university while you were a student. And thank you for what you will do as members of Canada's largest and, I believe, most distinguished alumni community. One more word of thanks is in order. I'm sure all graduates share a sense of gratitude to the friends and family members who've helped bring them to this special day. And so I would ask you to join me and the platform party in thanking them with a vigorous round of applause. Let me continue with a request. One of the distinguishing features of our convocation is that graduates come forward individually to be recognized. You'll be standing on the X right there on the carpet. You'll then, after you've had your moment in the sun, follow this red carpet down the ramp, exit out that door over there, and walk around the hall. And at that point, you will turn left and quietly re-enter the hall as your peers continue to be recognized here on the stage. Now, in this light, I encourage you to think of the very last person who's going to be on stage this afternoon. I believe it will be Wai Wong. Wai, are you here? Could you please stand up? So, everyone remember Wai and return to your seat. Finally, I want to note that the university is a mask-friendly environment, and we ask everyone to respect one another's decisions and comfort levels with regard to ongoing health and safety concerns. For the same reason, we will forego the traditional handshake here on stage, but promise to offer enthusiastic applause as you pass by. Thank you for your understanding, and once more, warmest congratulations. It's now my privilege to introduce our convocation speaker, University Professor Arthur Ripstein. Professor Ripstein is a leading philosopher whose interdisciplinary scholarship spans the history of philosophy, theories of justice, tort law, and the law of war. He's appointed to both the Department of Philosophy, where he has twice served as chair, and the Faculty of Law, where he holds the Howard Beck QC Chair in Law. He has also served on the university's governing council, as well as its business board and executive committee. He is a widely regarded and prolific author whose legal scholarship has been cited by the Supreme Court of Canada. He has received numerous prestigious fellowships, prizes, and awards in recognition of his excellence in scholarship and teaching. And most recently, he was awarded the 2021 Killam Prize for the Humanities. Please welcome Professor Arthur Ripstein to the podium.
Thanks very much for that introduction, Merrick. Chancellor Patton, President Gertler, distinguished colleagues, assembled family members and loyal friends of our graduating class, and most important of all, members of the class of 2022. I've been given the great privilege of diverting you for a few minutes before we get to the main business of celebrating the accomplishments of the class of 2022. And what an accomplishment it is for each and every one of you. It's always an accomplishment to get a university degree, to complete it, but all the more so for all of you who completed it in unusually adverse circumstances, circumstances of sudden lockdowns, canceled exams, and of course, the ubiquitous online teaching with its multiple delights, such as the professor who said, "Listen carefully, this is very important," just before the screen froze. Or the other professor who, wanting to look a little bit more interesting, decided to wear stripes one day, causing the screen to vibrate. This is going to be a little bit different from other experiences you have of hearing from professors. First of all, nothing that I say today is going to be on the exam. Second of all, I'm not going to need to take questions afterwards. Third of all, I can say with some confidence that there is no danger of the screen freezing. And fourth, as a special precaution, you may have noted, I'm wearing solid colors. So no worries about the vibration. So President Gertler told you that you're finished, you're done, and indeed you are. It's part of my task to talk to you a little bit about what comes next. And what I want to talk to you about in particular is that although this is in one way the end of something, in another sense it's the beginning, and most importantly of all, it's the middle. Let me explain. Part of what it is to graduate from university is to learn a lot about something, to be a true expert in your field, to know your way around it. And part of it also is to set out into the world needing to learn something new. Let me tell you a story from my own experience. When I started teaching at the University of Toronto, I had recently received my PhD, I had published articles, I was confident that I had finished with my learning, and I thought that my job now was to deploy what I had learned, teaching it to others, and expanding the horizons of research, building on what I had learned. A few weeks in, I was teaching in the philosophy department, and a few weeks in, I got into a conversation with someone in another discipline at the law school. My colleague told me a little bit about a case, and I was puzzled by it. It seemed to me, again, thinking that I had mastered everything I needed to master, that this was the kind of thing that I could probably figure out sometime with a couple of hours. Well, a few weeks later, I had a couple of hours to spare, and, well, a couple of years after that, I realized if I was going to figure this out, I had to go to law school. And so I spent my first sabbatical as a first-year law student at Yale Law School. It was a wonderful experience, partly because it took me back to my student days and all of the joys of that, but partly also because it taught me a number of important things. One of the things that it taught me is that looking at what you're doing from a different perspective is extraordinarily helpful. Sitting on the other side of the podium after 6 years of teaching rooms full of students, to be in the room full of students listening to my professors, brought my attention to a feature of teaching of which I had been dimly aware but hadn't really explicitly formulated. That is that most of teaching is a matter of explaining something to someone who finds it much less interesting than you do, but is much more worried about it than you are. And so, by studying law, I learned something new about teaching. I did that part of my job better. I also learned some legal doctrine. One of the advantages of learning that extra legal doctrine is that I was then able to finally figure out the case that had troubled me some years earlier, by then many years earlier, and got me started thinking about law in the first place. But the other thing that it did for me was even more important, because what it did was bring me a new way of thinking about old problems. Not only was I able to understand the legal question that I'd been unable to understand when I was just using my training as a philosopher, but now I had a new form of thought, a new discipline of mind, a new way of thinking that enabled me to think not only about that question in legal terms, but to think about questions in philosophy and think about pretty much anything else I encountered. Students today are often given the worthwhile advice that the most important thing is to learn how to think outside the box. Now, I wouldn't want to disagree with that for a moment, but at the same time, the best way to think outside the box is to find a new box, to look at the familiar question in a new way rather than looking at it in its old and familiar way, or rather than trying to stand outside the box entirely and look at it in no way at all. What I learned by studying a new discipline was that not only could I bring one discipline to bear on another, but that I had to begin again and again learning new things, thinking about new topics, and trying to think about them, in particular, in new ways. Now, some of you are in fast-moving fields. Some of you are in fields where you have been told that what you learned last year will probably be completely out of date 5 years from now. And so you already know that you need to keep on learning. My advice to those of you in fast-moving fields is that the way to keep learning is to think outside your field, to try and find out about how similar issues are dealt with in other fields. Others of you are in slow-moving fields. I actually work in 2 fields, and they move slow and slower. The field of law moves very slowly. Judges are fond of describing the development of the law that they bring about as incremental, moving extremely slowly, not deciding more questions than they have to. In philosophy, some people think there's been no progress in the past 2,500 years. Other people think no progress in the last 200 years. And some people, I have colleagues who think, no, just none in the past decade. Whatever it is, it looks like it's very slow, but it's not slow at all. One of the joys of my 2 disciplines is that they are probably the only 2 disciplines in the university where someone can devote their entire career to talking about the same things that they teach in an introductory level course. I have a distinguished colleague who spent his entire career talking about Aristotle, a staple of first-year philosophy. I have distinguished colleagues in the law school who work on tort law, a staple of the first-year tort law, of the first-year law school curriculum. But does that mean that nothing moves forward? No. What it means instead is that you have the opportunity to think about an old topic in a new way, or, just as important, to think about a new topic in an old way. As you move forward into the next stage of your lives and careers, many of you will find yourselves in positions of great responsibility. Great responsibility because you'll be charged with making decisions about things, not merely that have an impact on yourself, not just the stresses of course selection, but decisions about other questions that have huge impacts on other people and how those people's lives will end up going. You'll also find yourself needing to explain things to people who are less interested in, but more worried about the topic than you are. Whether you are a professional counseling a client, a salesperson talking to a customer, a physician dealing with a patient, or what happened to me this morning, the person from the car repair shop talking to me about the part that needed to be replaced on my car. Whatever it is, you will find yourself needing to do this and needing to do it in a way that requires you to be able to take that other person's perspective, to think about things in a new way, or, again, to find an old way to think about new things. So, with that, I say to you, thank you very much for your attention. Keep learning. Remember that you are at the beginning, you are at the end of something, and you're always in the middle. Thank you very much. Congratulations, and good luck to the class of 2022.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you the following candidates from the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degree of Master of Arts. Sarah Abdul. Michelle Afua Abwaji. Robert Daniel Adranya. Dustin Allen. Jonathan Alter. Kara Anderson. Shara Elise Ebalia Arellano. Ferhad Asefi. Borna Aturchian. Martin Austin. Alessia Avolun. Hela Bakhtari. Kelsey Lee Balaban. Candace Arden Baldassare. Michael Sebastian Bator. Andrea L. Battison. Tyler Ann Becky. Alejandra Belatin. Grace Bonus. Tira Brown. Elizabeth Bruins. Charles Buck. Thomas Burns. Grace Clara Cameron. Bailey Anna Campbell. Ryder Canepa. Stephanie Ann Carroll. Sarah Nicole Carruthers. Ash Catonio. Catherine Rose Gear Chambers. Yi Tao Chow. Maria Noel Raymond Chehade. Si Yuan Chen. Ji Yun Choi. Margarita Rosa Cifuentes. Charlotte Corelli. Madeline Rose Corradi. Megan Elizabeth May Coulter. Genevieve Jane Crispin Fry. Kara Elizabeth Cruz. Gwendolyn Culver. Jennifer Sarah Dalan. Amanda Jane Deely. Singyu Heather Deng. Kathleen Dervenis. Elise DeRoche. Lara Christian DeVries Jenkins. Nafisa Devji. Arina Dmitrenko. Hannah Dos Santos. Nikolai Ronko Duffield. Mia Jurkovic. Emily Ahrensberger. Sabrina Ruggles Eckstein. Claire Elizabeth Ellis. Emily Ferguson. Jennifer Antonia Tatiana Fimoniari. Gabrielle Praise Forrester. Lavinia John Ford. Patrick Thomas Fraser. George Gibson. Daria Glaskova. Raphael Glazov. Victoria Elizabeth DeFer Glista. Zachary Meade Gorman. Karine Hack. Mariam Hamdi. Julie Ju-hee Han. Stephen Han. Jenna Harris. Arisa Hasham. Stephanie Hayes. Amelia Healy. Morag Antonella Heggie. Christopher Xavier Henry. Melissa Hepner. Victoria Herbison. Sophia Hirschfield. Elisa Julia Horde. Alexander Horvath. Madison Riley Hovey. Shen Yang Su. Han Yi Huang. Baher Hussein. Mina Ivoshev. Alyssa June Aizat. Anab Jaffrey. Gurinder Jaku. Yunsu Zhong. Isabel Laura Taylor Jewell. Ryan Callow. Mira Kanageswaran, Soikan Karayol, Farhin Khan, Teniat Khan, Valentina Kanzina, Sun Kyo Kim, Amy Kathleen Kirk Jemmett, Ruti Koratayev, Anastasia Kvashnina, Catherine Mei-Ting Kwok, Wendy Kang Lee, Rodrigo Licle Ventosa, Chidi Lin, Madeline Emma Tekla Link, Vanessa Ataro Mabel, Ryan Alexander McDonald, Victoire Ines McNaughton, Cassandra Alexis McPherson, Tessa Maki, Dimitrios Manakis, Claudia Marshalak, Robin Charo Martin, Arisha Masood, Marie-Eve Melly, Kazi Anissa Mokit, Stacy Karina Mortimer, Rebecca Willow Moss, Ashling Rose Murphy, Michelle Nadon Bélanger, Anahid Nashja Fizadeh, Nyokani Natana, Jayshri Nayar, Irina Niago, Alicia Nicole, Julia S. Niebles Fernandez, Christina Nitzis, Sang-Hoon Oh, Marisa Elaine Orhalo, Robert Corey Osmond, Kai Christopher Palleder, Lindsay Rain Palmer, Nicole Pidi, Nhi Fan, Julie Pops, Alex Pompili, Kobe Powell, Evangelia Prokopoudis, Alexander Putt, Manpreet Rai, D. Rao, Lauren Anastasia Rutherford, Shivangi Saw, Sydney Lynn Patricia Scott, Nicholas Gregory Seiler, Koji Shiramoto, Thomas Michael Sider, Jarrett Mickey Sorger, Spencer, Marko Stambolic, Devin Stroink, Jennifer Se, Alexander Tabascio, Braden Tate, Emily Tolvin, Kan Van Tong, Jacob Thomas Van Helder, Tatiana Velichkovich, Isabella Vesely, Talia Christine Sophia Vogt, Camila Walls Castillo, Kai Wang, Emily Watkins, Bridget Whalen, Natasha White, Andrew Vibe, Chloe Mei Wong Mercero, Jingyi Yang, Zhen Yu Yong, Mercedes Lin Yeast, Maya Yuel, Borong Zhang, Hannah Zhang, Stanley Bowen Zhang, candidates from the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degree of Master of Science. Noor Hussein Abbas, Kianush Abbasi, Kareem Abdur Rashid, Alejandro Adames, Uksa Shoaib Alam, Fatima Mahad Ali, Juan Bao, Maud Bergqvist. Christian Barros. Joy Megumi Carter. Teresa Juanita Marie Castleman. Irwana Eliana Clotia. Maurizio Arturo Coronado Pacheco. Pravina Minoli Diaz. Jake Abbott Emtaj. Liam Fortier. James Luke Fraser Leach. Shuhan Gan. Harsimran Kaur Garcha. Grace Madeline Gregory Alcock. Mehul Gupta. Janu Yun Ho. Tanzim Hok. Laura Hrish. Michaela Christine Jarvie. Lindsay Jennifer Katz. Esther Grace Kay. Gianpaolo W. Labugan. Robin Learn. Jimmy Lin. Michaela Lisogorsky. Evan Wanjing Liu. Khaled Madoun. Emma Manan. Farnam Mansouri. John Paul Gichaula Mastro Giacomo. Forrest Shar McAdam. Carlos Arturo McGregor. Caitlin Christine McNeil. Benjamin Israel Moka. Julian August Dylan Nickel. Leon E. Pakingan. Priya Patel. Nicholas Platy. Matthew Luke Potsernich. Rumina Rashid. Alessio Scursi. Daniel Josu Serrano Cadena. Turner Lee Silverthorne. Daniel Jacob Snyder. Anastasia Sokolova. Megan Stewart. Juliana Stoica, Fardeen Saeed, Christine Joan Villaluna, Alexandra Letizia Williams, Sanjana Yatta, Xiaomeng Zhuo, Riley Zurin, candidates from the School of Graduate Studies who are being admitted to the degree of Master of Global Affairs: Haiwen Chen, Ishraq Fazal, Uma Rajiv Kalkar, Yi Young, candidates from Victoria College who are being admitted to the degree of Honors Bachelor of Arts: Kara Austria, Enoch Chan, Destiny Danezia Cook-Gibbon, Ali Ekrampur, Shinyat Fang, Amna Zehra Hussein, Shariah Lauren James, Bomei Jing, Junyoung Lee, Liam Richard Lindley, Yu Lu, Colin Andrew Morley, Haley Mae Marilyn Monroe, Kevin Conrad Oliver, Warisa Rahman, Joanne Shan, Anastasia Skripinik, Mackenzie Lee Snowden, Camille Tasma Gambet, Jenna Souls Tissoder, Olivia Ann Thompson, An Hong To, Shannon Claire Grady Vincent, Lachey Latoya Watson, Rafaela Zamaras, candidates from Victoria College who are being admitted to the degree of Honors Bachelor of Science: Mary Wing Si Ao, Madhurja Bokshi, Evan J. Baltman, Yutong Chen, Yuxuan Chen, Mohammed Dajani, Han Dong-vu, Zi Jiang, Zahar Karakulkin, Min Jae Kim, Abhirami Krishnathasan, K. Bin Young, Jia Wei Liu, Rintaro Alexander Masuda, Tu Feng Min Nguyen, Kais Omeish, David Pasternak, Ayla Shahid, Iris Shao, Ayush Sharma, Jingtong Wang, Peifan Wang, Tianyi Zhang, candidates from Victoria College who are being admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce. Marcus Choi. Mei-Yin Jin. Judy Kong. Candidates from Woodsworth College who are being admitted to the degree of Honors Bachelor of Arts. Simon Elliott Abbey Colborn. Anissa Ali. Leonardo Al-Munayer. Julian Ashurst. Alicia Bailey. Kubra Dilan Baider. Jae Yun Bayan. Varun Chandrasekhar. Miao Chun Chen. Tanvir Anjum Chowdhury. Jin Max Feng. Avneet Kaur Garcha. Heather Ann Hayden. Dina Marie Hagenbarth. Jinghui Hu. Sophia Ilahi. Christy Kerala. Hyung Lee. Yi Shun Evelyn Liang. Ashna Malhotra. Bethany Grace Malley. Jade Zihan Beth Nelson. Madeline Grace Milica Prosser. Mariam Sabati. Kim Janelle Miranda Sanchez. Kristen Ann Sanhuesa. Banu Priya Sharma. Yiting Tang. Matthew Michael Thompson. Lisa Tue. Jingyu Wang. Yiming Wang. Xianyu Yue. Candidates from Woodsworth College who are being admitted to the degree of Honors Bachelor of Science. Mohammed Abdurrahman. Siyu Chen. Xiaoyin Chen. Ziting Chen. William Chu. Ivan Chumakov. Naomi Game Domermuth. Han Yuan Gao. Louis Charles Bernard Girard. Mila Gorshkova. Yuhan Huang. Dua Ikram. Dana Kuljabayeva. Mengyu Lei. Janet Lee. Zhaoyang Li. Yan Tong Li. Yi Ching Lim. Yushan Liu. Yuwei Liu. Sterling Milne. Zainab Ois. Alexa Pop. Rui Chu. Andrea Slovich. Endal Cassandra Tutu. Mengde Wang. Vinky Wang. Jingqi Wei. Pin Lark Abigail Wang. Lucas Ray Yun Shan. Dian Shu. Jingyuan Zhang. Shicheng Zhang. Ruhui Zhang. Candidate from Woodsworth College who is being admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science. Vaibhav Singh. Candidates from Woodsworth College who are being admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce. Jennifer G. Sarah Helen Yu Grubb. Nuha Jahin. Julia F. Lee. Guan Chung Liu. Tara Sabarwal. Wanyi Wang.
On behalf of the University of Toronto, and by virtue of the authority vested in me, I hereby admit all those candidates not here present to their degrees in absentia.
Well, that was fun. As we conclude Convocation, let me thank all of you for your participation and your patience. To the families and friends and to those in the procession, let me say thank you. You've made this a more memorable event for each member of the graduating class. I want to thank our wonderful Chancellor, Rose Patton, for presiding over today's ceremony. Thank you, Chancellor. Let me thank as well the many other colleagues and friends of the university who have participated in this convocation, whose names you will find in the program. I now invite the Chancellor to bring today's ceremony to a close.
Thank you, President. As I bring this convocation ceremony to a close on this, your special day, I hope we will see you often in the years to come. And I invite you to stay connected. We will be very interested in your journey, and we know that you will make an impact for the better in whatever path you choose. Concilium dismissum est.